Hey, what up everybody? Stevie Breach coming to you with another video. In this video we're going to be discussing who's going to take over for Edge. Basically as the #1 face of Smackdown, or just basically, you know, all around the #1 guy on Smackdown. Edge has been the guy that has, you know, really been running Smackdown for the last while. They sort of gave him the reins and said, this is going to be your show, Edge. You know, for a while, it's gone through different eras. For a while it was Batista's show. Batista was the main guy on there, and then they moved Edge into that slot. They put Edge on Raw. It really didn't work out for Edge on Raw, and he came back and took that show back over, and that SmackDown really was, you know, his show. He said it on the one when he was leaving. You know, he said he really felt like this was his show, and when he went back, it proved to it. He was the #1 guy on there. A lot of people look at SmackDown like it was like sort of like the lesser brand, sort of where you put guys to put them over in order to get them up to you know, the main ranks, and then ship them over to Raw and then see what they really have. But you know, with Edge, you always knew you were going to get a good match, and basically they're going to need somebody to fill that slot, whether it's a face or a heel. They're going to need that one guy to carry the show, like Edge did. A lot of the storylines of the past few years have all been pumped through Edge on that show, and you know, there's a few guys. I mean, the easiest person you can put in there right now is Christian. My only problem with Christian is where he was, you know, a few months ago before he got hurt. And basically, he hasn't worked his way back up into earning that #1 spot. You know, I don't really understand putting a mid-card job guy to the #1. Wait a minute, isn't that happening on Raw right now with R-Truth? Oh, but anyways, we're not going to get into that. I don't even want to get started on why R-Truth is in the Extreme Rules Raw #1 contendership slot right now, but let's get back onto this. Let's get back onto Christian. Christian is the guy that carried TNA. He got TNA to its highest point. Basically, when he left, you can look at that as the one point that when TNA started to slide downhill. Not to put that all on Christian, but you know, coincidentally, that's when TNA sort of kicked the bucket in a lot of people's eyes, is the day Christian left. But you know, Christian ran ECW. But SmackDown is a lot bigger than ECW, and I'm not 100% sure that he can carry the load on there. But Christian's got a lot of fans out there on YouTube, and I'm sure they would love to have it. A guy that I'm going to jump on board right now, and I've been on his bandwagon for a long time. Everybody knows the name that's going to come out of my mouth. Jack Swagger. I mean, Jack Swagger is one of the all-around best wrestlers that's in the WWE right now. I would say it's him or Daniel Bryan. Everybody remembers the match that they had on Monday Night Raw. That was a couple months ago back now, but man, that was some great wrestling action. But as the way I see it, we're going to see a face turn with him at the pay-per-view, and it'd be easy to put him up at the top of the card. He's an all-around great wrestler. He has the look of a wrestler. You can see he has the face. The only thing that Swagger is lacking is his promos. A lot of people don't like the lisp that comes out of his mouth, but as a heel on ECW, I thought his promos were great, and I think the reason why they stuck him in the whole thing with Cole and Lawler for the WrestleMania thing, a lot of people thought it was sort of like a, you know, a slap down, that he didn't get a match, and that, you know, he was on the lesser end and he's on his way out. But I thought that was to get him over. I mean, he was featured on both shows for many months. He got matches on both. He got promos on both. I think Swagger's a good guy that can get there. A surefire guy that I think could take that slot right now is John Morrison. Everybody knows the crap about Morrison that they're putting out there about why Vince doesn't want to push this guy. And honestly, I think that's bullcrap. I think it shows how honest or how smart John Morrison is. John Morrison has wanted this job in WWE for a long, long time. And honestly, he's one of the best, you know, innovative wrestlers that they have out there. He might be the new, I guess you can say that maybe the new Jeff Hardy. I mean, every time you see this guy in the ring, it's something new from this guy. That's the one thing I love about this guy. He's always looking to do something that the fans have never seen before. And, you know, by him not wanting to punk out Batista for Melina, I think it honestly showed how smart that guy was. I think that, you know, Vince wanted the boys to have a fight in the back over her, but he knew that more than likely if he, you know, challenged Batista to a fight over Melina and he lost, basically, you know, getting in a fight with the champion at that time isn't that smart. So, I mean, honestly, that would have been his ticket on the way out. I mean, he might have gained Vince's respect, but Vince probably would have fired him over it. So, you know, if your girl's cheating on there's a reason. Just let her go. And look what happened. She went to Batista and she came back. So, you know, all in all, Morrison got to keep his job, and Morrison, you know, got the girl back in the end. So now my gamble pick. This is the one guy that I'm going to name that could take that one number one spot on SmackDown. But it's a reach. But I'm going to give it to him, and it's Drew McIntyre. You know, I'm not a fan of Drew McIntyre, to say the least. But he is a guy that, you know, WWE was looking into pushing a month ago after Elimination Chamber. They made him number one heel. It only lasted for a week. You remember he was on the main event of SmackDown. He was in the Vicky Guerrero, Edge, and Kelly tag match where Vicky Guerrero got fired. That seemed to be the end of his push for some reason. I didn't really see anything in there that led to that. This whole storyline with Kelly was dropped. But Drew McIntyre is a guy that gets a lot of heat very easily. For the one reason, people don't like him. Now, once he gets in the ring, he turns into this boring monster, much like Randy Orton to me. But I think if you can translate that heat into something else, and I'm not talking about Lance Storm, boring heat, but I mean, like, if you can get him to where the fans actually hate him, and he's actually, you know, better in the ring, kicks up the intensity, what would a Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre match be like? That's something I don't want to see. But he's got to kick it up a notch. He's got to find a way, you know, to get into a higher pace. I think he can be that guy. I see him higher than Intercontinental Champion sort of guy. I see him challenging for the title in the next year. And I think that's a controversial pick. I don't think everybody's going to be on board with that. But those are my 4 picks for who the main guys for SmackDown could be to take Edge's slot. If you guys have anyone else, just put them in the comments. And if you want to make a video about somebody and send it to me, I'll send it to me and we'll log it on to this one, and we'll go from there. Thank you.